now.
All right. In three, two, one. Well, just like the Dallas Cowboys, we're back. We're back at it
Oh
here on the
gosh.
Alaska
I
Sports
knew
Talk
it. I knew it
podcast.
was
You
coming.
got to lead off with the
I knew it.
Cowboys.
Hey,
Super Bowl bound,
Let's
maybe.
talk about the
you
Seahawks.
you were playing the Raiders.
Yeah, well, we struggle sometimes. We played Arizona 2 weeks ago. Like, what
Right?
is so? What's your
True.
point? Like,
True.
you
True.
know, look how I say we. Yeah,
Yeah.
when we win, I'm
Well, you
part of
do
the
have the
team.
you do have the jersey on.
Yes, I do.
You
I have
are
my Dion
I
jersey
this whole
on.
weekend at Wolverine games, you know what kind of lanyard I was wearing? Yeah, you know it. I was
Seahawks.
wearing my Seahawks lanyard. You
Yeah,
know
well,
it.
they
Absolutely.
poopy the bed this weekend.
Oh,
Hey, Keaton,
the defense played unbelievable. Stafford had his worst game of the year by far. Short Sam turning the ball over 4 times killed us. And the
Keaton,
fact that we could win the game on the last drive with one of the best punts I've ever seen, ever. It bounced at the 3 and then goes out at the half-yard line. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, it
I've
was a
never
great
seen
punt.
anything like that. It was incredible.
Yeah. What's up, Brad?
well, I'm just saying, where has that jersey been? I mean, have you been wearing jerseys for a while? Do you go out
Yeah,
in public with that jersey?
I do. I do. I wore it in public today. Uh, so people do know that I'm not a closet cowboy fan. Like it's
No,
well
I will give
known.
you that. You are not.
So
So
You are not.
Isaiah, when things are going good, he'll wear the Seahawk jersey to church.
oh,
I think
see, I
that's
won't do it. I can't do that. I got in trouble one time wearing wanting to wear a jersey to church. Mom didn't like that. I could wear a
Yeah,
dress shirt that said Cowboys on it, but I couldn't wear a jersey.
yeah. I've worn a dress shirt, a collared shirt that had the little Seahawk emblem, but never a jersey to church.
I
No, no,
think
no, no, no.
think that's legal.
Yeah.
I don't know. That does seem kind of weird now you think about it. Like, wear somebody else's name on the back of your, I mean, jersey going to church. Like, I don't know. That just seems different, I
Yeah.
guess. It's
It's,
I
okay in
don't like to wear
other public places, but
I don't like to wear the Alaska Sports Talk, you know, any shirt with a logo. I don't want
a
to be
Lego.
a Lego. Hmm.
or a Lego, but I don't want to be
Uh,
advertising Nike or you know,
eh, I
I
can
don't
live with
want to be
that.
a billboard at church.
Ah, there you go. Just plain shirts. I got it. I got it. Well, there's nothing plain about this podcast. Brad
No.
Lauwers, Keaton Homer, Isaiah Vreeman, along with you here in the Alaska Sports Talk podcast, recapping all the sports happenings from last week. And boy, was there a lot of them, including
Whew. Yeah.
state championship volleyball on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The Seawolves men's and women's basketball teams in action as well. The men were at home at the Alaska Airlines Center for the Alaska Hawaii Challenge. The women were on the road taking on a couple of Hawaii teams, and then also the UAA women's volleyball team on the road as well. Wrapping up a big weekend on their last road trip as they get ready for their final two home matches of the season coming up this weekend. So, a lot to recap. We'll start in the high school realm, high school volleyball. Brad, I know you were there for a lot of it, 3A and 4A action. You want to start the 3A bracket first, or do you want to go
Yeah,
4A?
I think that was very interesting. Valdez, um, Nikiski, Kenai, they've been right in the thick of them for the
Yep.
last several years. And Nikiski, they're a fun team to watch. They made it to the championship game, and they actually went up 2-0 on Kenai. But Kenai came back. I found out that's called a reverse sweep, and they took three in a row and avoided um, the if game, but had to win that fifth set to 15. So pretty impressive and fun to watch. Their left-handed hitter for
Sophie.
Kenai. So
Sophie Tapley.
oh my
She's
gosh,
going to UAA.
and she's going to UAA, and you know, in watching a lot of volleyball this year, I did not see a lot of left-handed hitters, and it's very valuable. I've been told to have a left-hander in your lineup to hit from the right side. I still, I admit that there's people around that know more about volleyball than me, But
No way.
Get out of
yeah,
here.
that sounds
One
good.
one maybe sitting next to you, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
just
That's kooky talk, Isaiah.
that's kooky talk. But you know
I
what's
know.
not kooky talk
Yeah,
is the power of the left hand.
yeah. Well,
Yeah. Everyone in the world is born right-handed, but
That's not true.
only the best of us can overcome that.
That's a lie. That is a blatant and bold lie. That is
Only the best of us can
blasphemous.
overcome that.
Get out of here.
I'm just saying.
Are
I'm
you
just saying
left-handed, Isaiah?
I am left-handed
How come I've never known this?
yeah.
because
Maybe I've never seen you write anything. I always see you type stuff out,
yeah,
I
I'm
guess. I don't-
typing stuff. But yeah, I'm left-handed. Like I
I've never
said,
seen him take a shot, but I only coached with him for 9 years, so
well,
I didn't know he was left-handed.
see, I can shoot right-handed. I can also shoot left-handed.
Yeah,
I can do a
Are
lot
you
of things.
ambidextrous?
And a lot of things, yes. But writing,
Okay.
straight up, no, left
Left-handed.
hand only. That's
Are
what I'm
you-
saying is we all are born right-handed, but only
Yeah.
the best of us can overcome that.
Are you
And
amphibious?
definitely not amphibious.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know how we got here. I know we're talking about Sophie Tapley and her
The
fact that she's
left-handed hitters.
and
That's what I'm
how
saying.
amazing
That's really
Uh,
important. You got to have a lefty
she is.
around.
Well,
Yeah.
and she really kind of jump-started things in that third set. I think she had something like 10 points in the third set alone. So you mentioned that reverse sweep that Kenai got. She was, kind of the player that spearheaded that momentum, getting them going in set number 3. I can't imagine when you're down 2-0. I know they had the if game, if they needed it or anything like that, but still there's got to be some pressure,
Oh,
like, all right, we cannot drop a set, right? I mean, you're
Well-
already down 2-0, and maybe there's a little. I'm not saying comfort. Comfort's not the right word, but I don't know. I guess I'm not. I've never been in that situation as an athlete, knowing I might have an extra game potentially if we drop 3 in a row. I guess, but still, I think you're playing with that in the back of your mind that you don't want to lose. Obviously,
Yeah.
no.
And the Kiski, they're the ones with the overwhelming pressure. And
true. Yeah,
I thought Coach Beck, she was very patient with her team. She trusted her team. She never called an early timeout, even though, there was deficits and a lot of people would have called that early timeout, but she trusted her team. And, now I know she lost a player a couple of years ago that was really a key. I don't know if you remember that player.
for Kenai.
Yeah.
Yeah, her daughter,
Emma Beck.
Yeah,
Emma Beck.
And she went to UAA, and you've seen her. How would you evaluate her?
Coming off of a red shirt, she didn't play last year. She redshirted, obviously, but this year she's been a huge piece for Stacy Meisner in terms of some of their success. She has been a key component of the success that UAA has had as a freshman. So huge.
I thought people talked about it. Maybe she's a little short for the college game, but I think with her attitude and her athleticism, and she was a great basketball player. I just think if you don't think she's going to excel at some point and be a key part, especially her junior and senior year. I mean,
Yeah.
I was definitely betting on her, and it's paying off for me.
Well, I'm sure she was in attendance. Well, would have been in attendance, I should say, if UAA wasn't on the road to watch Kenai, her alma mater there. Is Kenai, they stay in the winner's bracket throughout. Didn't need the if game. You mentioned the reverse sweep. They take down Nikiski in 5 sets after dropping the first 2 to win the state title for Kenai. Excuse me. I believe it's their 3rd state title in 4 years, if memory serves correct. And
That sounds right.
Looking back at the 3A volleyball record book, so very impressive run for the Kenai Central Cardinals, picking up another state championship and then another 5-setter in a state championship. What is that? How many years in a row there's been a 5-setter to either force an if game or 1 in 5 sets for 3A volleyball? At least 2.
For 3A? Oh,
Maybe
man.
3 or 4. I don't know. Like,
Um,
Yeah.
Valdez, Kenai a few years ago. I don't know if that went to an if game, but I'm pretty sure that went to 5. So I want to say it's been 3 or 4 years now.
And it's no longer Isaiah's fault. It happened even without Isaiah being in the middle.
It's true. It's true. I can't be blamed for that.
Yeah.
So who gets the blame? Anybody? Anybody? Do we have a
No,
point person?
I
No?
don't think they don't
There's no
have.
blame?
It's always Isaiah they're pointing fingers at. Like
Oh, okay.
he fills the house for 1A, 2A, but you know he didn't sell the popcorn or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Uh,
some kind of
There's something, I'm sure.
everybody jumps on the successes, and then when there's a complaint, they go, "Well, you're gonna have to
yeah.
check with Isaiah."
Yeah. Should mention that Kenai and Nikiski played in the Saturday or the Friday round 3, and the Kenai won that on Friday in 4 sets, and then Nikiski bouncing back in the consolation round against Valdez in 5 sets to get to the state championship game on Saturday. So, yeah, the fact that Nikiski, I think, who was playing without one of their star players
Yeah,
for uh, the last few matches.
yeah,
Got to the championship game.
yeah. She was on
Impressive.
crutches, and the fact, and actually, Nikiski's to say their average size would be kind, but the height that they had was on crutches. So,
Yeah, I'm
they
trying to remember who it was. Mandy Roof, if that
okay.
name comes to mind.
Good,
Um,
good volleyball name.
yeah, yeah. So, but Nikiski, without one of their star players, able to make the state championship game. They end up finishing in second as Kenai takes the 3A state title yet again, third time in 4 years. So that leaves 4A volleyball, and what a tournament it was in the 4A side of things. Also starting on Thursday morning as well. Uh, it was an interesting start to that Thursday morning. Perhaps some people thinking, all right, South Chugach maybe was one of the highlight matches to start that Thursday morning. It went 5 sets. Mustangs able to pull out the victory against South to advance against Service. Service defeated Soldotna in the opening round in 3 straight. Dimond winning in 3 against Juneau, and then Colony also winning in 3 against Lathrop in their opening round matches. So the second round later that afternoon or later that evening, Chugach and Service, and then Dimond and Colony. Chugach winning in 3 against Service, advancing along in the winners bracket, and then the Dimond Lynx run into a speed bump against Colony and drop it in 4. And I'm sure somebody in your house, Brad, was maybe a little less than pleased
Yeah,
with the performance on Friday evening against Colony.
yeah. Well, I want to tell you, within the space of a couple days, there was a very different vibe in this household. I mean, so you look at South with kind of a, you know, as what's considered the top team. They don't seed necessarily,
Right.
but they're playing a number 3 Chugach team that was on the rise and playing with a lot of confidence. So essentially, South plays the best team, opponent. It's also the only CIC matchup in the first round. So, Chugach beat South for the first time in years and years and years.
Yeah, it's been
And
a
it
long
came
time.
onto that time. And then when Dimond lost to Colony, they went in the same bracket as South. So virtually, it's just like losing a first round game anyways.
That's tough. Yeah.
And then Dimond and South meets in a game where the loser gets 5th.
Right. Yeah.
So, on the other hand, both those teams, maybe 1 and 2, 1 and 3, however you look at it, and South being the favorite, they wouldn't have to beat South and win the if game. So there's one match that, drops either team, and the one that wins, doesn't have to play the other again in the tournament. And South, after losing 3 matches all year, they go 1-2 in the tournament. So, to your point, Keaton, there was a lot of things that happened that people wouldn't have predicted.
Yeah, I would think so, especially, I mean, that opening first couple of days. I mean, you look at some of those, scores and whatnot, and obviously the South one sticks out, but um, yeah, I think to your point, that consolation, that second round consolation, you get Dimond and South, the two top teams out of the Cook Inlet Conference. And you mentioned it, the loser is getting fifth place in the state championship after, everything is said and done. After Dimond had a terrific year regular season, South same thing, and somebody's got to lose come state tournament time, and it was Dimond who pulled it out in 4 sets against South, and then they Lynx moving on. They take on Service after Service won in 3 sets in the consolation round against Juneau. So you have Dimond and Service in the consolation round to keep their hopes alive, and Dimond wins in 4. Colony, by the way, ends up advancing to the state championship game after a 3-set victory over the Chugiak Mustangs. So Chugiak wins their first 2 matches against South and Service, falls to the consolation round on Saturday morning, and they got to play the Dimond Lynx, and it was a classic match. I mean, back and forth, it went 5 sets, and in that 5th set, Dimond able to pull it out 15-13, and I don't know. I think is Coach Lauwers next to you there, Brad?
Right here, I think she's happy to describe what happened at the end of that tournament.
I would definitely be curious to know in that game against Chugiak, Coach, like what's going through your mind as it's going back and forth in that game in the consolation round.
Well, just even going into that match, I mean, we've played Chugiak numerous times. I think matchup wise, I thought we were fairly even though we've played each other, and I think we had beaten them more times than they had beaten us. But the region tournament, I thought Chugiak was playing much better. But like I said, matchup wise, with their 2 outside hitters, they're pretty amazing and hard to stop. And but they were playing a great tournament, and then they proved themselves that they beat South, that they were just playing their best volleyball here at the state tournament. And so I knew that we couldn't make very many unforced errors. And in that match, that's what it was going to take. I thought the team that made the least unforced errors was going to win. And in the game of volleyball, it's a momentum game, and who can kind of keep that going. And just fortunately, we kept hanging in there until the very end, and we just couldn't let up. I mean, if you let up just a moment, somebody was going to get a big lead, or if you were sad because you lost a set. Yeah. Like I said, that momentum and coaching high school girls, you just couldn't let them get into their heads. You just had to go, okay, that's over with, let's go. It's just, you can't pout about it. You just had to, volleyball's that type of game. And Chugiak didn't give up, and we didn't give up, and just kind of, that's how it happened the last few points. So we were just fortunate to get through it and be able to get to the championship match.
After you lose that match against Colony and you guys end up in the consolation round, what's the message to the team? Because, I mean, there's no more leeway here. You guys got to win 3 matches in a row to get to the state championship. So what are you telling your girls after that match against Colony, and you guys end up having to play South in that consolation round?
Well, there's not much you can tell them. I mean, we lost a match at Regions, and the same thing. You just picked a longer route to go. I mean, there's no feeling sorry, and there's no like, hey, looking back at what you did. You just had to pick a different route. And we had done that during Regions when we lost to Chugiak for the first time. And so, and I've been to the state tournament numerous times, and had to kind of figure out how to trust us, especially Stan and I. We've been, like I said, we've been here numerous times, and people get caught up of like who's playing who first round, who's playing who's, that's if you get caught up in all that, that things like this happen. And finally, you just had to go and, hey, you just got to play the game that you're in and play the match that you're in, because if you get caught up in that other stuff, that's when you're going to go home early. And so there was just no time to think about any of that. It was just like, okay, you picked another route, you better come back. And, and I think, you just got to everybody's got to do their job. I think in Colony we had like 33 unforced errors, and we lost each set by 3 or 4 points. So, if we just think about our side of the court, and if your job was to block, get up there and touch a few balls on the block. If your job was to put the ball down, just cut those in half. No one's going to be perfect, but if you just cut those, in half, and if you miss 7 serves that game, cut it to 3 or 4. If you hit 6 balls out, cut that to 3. Those are measurable goals, and that next opponent, that's what we had to do, and just kind of focus on skill wise, and just try to give it, try to make each person try to make it the best possible effort, and just stick it out and see what happened. And it was a good thing what happened.
I was going to actually ask you, what was there a strategy difference once you played Colony in the state championship game? You kind of already touched on it. It just seems like all these little things, we don't need to change too much. And, it ended up working out for you in the state championship game.
I tweaked the lineup a little bit. I did do that, mainly because of where we need a blocking combination, because each opponent's different. And so there are some different matchup situations per opponent. But I didn't have to do that so much for Colony, and I really didn't have to do that for Colony. It was like our errors. They played amazing, but it was kind of but for our next opponent, which was our next opponent, was South our next opponent? Who was our next opponent? Yeah, so it was going to be South, and I knew we were going to go against Indy and in the front row. So I flip-flopped our bigger blocker in the front row, and then I had to make another switch defensively, and that seemed to hold on and work, and so I kind of stuck with that for the rest of the tournament, and so the girls kind of got used to that lineup. So I did make that a little tweak in our lineup for that, but really it was just about us, mainly, is that it was like there's no tomorrow. We kind of just said there's no tomorrow. If you want to play again, there's no feeling bad or wondering about. Somebody had said, like, hey, we call it no effort balls. We used to record no effort balls, meaning like if you didn't get the effort, we might have to run. I go, well, what happens? Who cares if you write down you don't have no effort balls? No, what happens if you don't? If we had 3 no effort balls, well, you lose. So let's just focus on what we have to do better, and they did. They just kind of like dialed in, and I just thought they just dialed in a little bit better, and knew that we'd be going home if we didn't, and just real proud of them that's what we did.
So Dimond able to win the state championship against Colony, forcing the if necessary game, and then winning the if necessary game 30-20. Coach, do you know how many state titles you've won now at Dimond?
Well,
off the top of your head,
Brad's usually this stat. He thinks I've won 12.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you've 12 of 17.
Yeah.
So
that's a pretty good percentage.
That's
That's
17
respectable.
titles. Yeah, I've been there for 12 of them. I mean, I think that's a toot your own horn thing. That's cool. I kind of asked this to all the coaches. What are you going to remember this year's team for?
Oh God.
Oh.
And no, they're all really different in their own little ways, and I mean sometimes they can crack me up at practice, but sometimes they, it's like herding. I wrote in the paper, it's like herding cats and trying to get them all, together. But they're just a fun. They are a fun group and a fun young group. It's just a mixture. They're just all different, and I don't know. They're a fun group. They're a real fun group. So.
Oh, good. Well, congratulations. Another state title. Awesome season. Awesome run. Brad, we'll kind of go back to you here. You're calling the games, right? I know you're not being biased, obviously, but kind of give me a glimpse of maybe what's going through your head, as this tournament is going along and Dimond is making their run and you're watching kind of Kim do her thing.
I found out I did a lot of Dimond games during the tournament.
Yeah.
But the game I didn't do I was I was incredibly tense. It was, worse than personally doing a basketball game. But when I'm doing a game, I relax. It's more relaxed. One of my sisters is a South parent, and her daughter Kayla was the Gatorade, and so she texts me during the match and says, "You sound biased," and I try not to do that. But Keaton, you kind of know, like you're doing a game and
Yeah,
you know one of the teams very well,
right,
and you're just figuring out who the other team is. So you can identify every player on the team you know well, and
right.
you're learning the other side. But because you know everybody on the one side, you are
Well,
being a little biased
yeah. Well,
just by
I ran into that years ago when I was doing Chugiak football games.
right.
Like, yeah, I know the little ins and outs of, some of the Chugiak football players, right? And I think when people know that you're associated or kind of associated with one school, there's that already perceived notion of bias in your broadcast. Like,
They
and you're
they
like,
look
come
for
on. Like, yeah, exactly. Any little thing. But anyway, um, anything else from the 4A tournament that stood out to you, Brad, while you were broadcasting some matches?
no. I just think a lot of people at the beginning of the year thought there were a lot of teams in the CIC could win it. Then Colony, Soldado was number one out of that conference, but it was 30-28 in the if game. So Colony Soldado, who made an early departure, they must have been in the mix. So I think winning with that level of competition, I think everybody had to know they were close, and Diamond has to feel good about winning for sure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know if anybody else in 4A can come close to 17 state titles in volleyball. I don't think that there's anybody that is even remotely close.
Yeah, I would
Well,
I mean,
probably lean towards no.
well, South and Diamond.
well, they haven't been around long enough.
Isaiah,
Well, South hasn't, sorry.
Isaiah, didn't we say back in the day that they'd met in the finals like something like 10 years in a row?
Uh, well, I think it was 13. I think
That long?
the first time it hadn't happened was, I think it was Diamond or South played Bartlett in one of the finals
Yeah.
at the Alaska Airlines Center, and then the last couple of years with Wasilla. It
Yeah.
wasn't South and Diamond.
Well, it was a few years ago when they're in the middle of 10 in a row or whatever.
Hmm.
Yep.
And let's
That's crazy.
like to give a shout out to Donna Dooley, who got it all started at Diamond, and then Susie Newman. So I think those two might have 4 or 5 of the previous. And it's kind of cool too that alumni parents and alumni coaches, Donna Dooley comes to games, and that group is really, it's not just when their kids graduate; they're part of
Yeah.
Link Nation.
No, that's true. I think for almost a lot of schools, anybody that gets something going and started, there's always a cog that kind of sticks around and has always kind of been around when things get started and continue to support and help out as much they can. So that's
And
always
then
good to have.
Chris Ruggles, so as the activities principal, who really loves sports, and he is in attendance at almost everything, and he understands sports. That's a great guy to have as your activities
Yeah.
principal. He traveled
Yep.
with him. He, you know,
Yep.
he's just at a level by himself. Willie Rickstone. There's other really really good ones, but I don't know if anybody's better than Chris Ruggles.
No, he's solid. Solid dude, and
Yep.
you're right, you're exactly
Absolutely.
right. He goes to many, 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 many athletic events and supports all the teams there as well. So, uh, here's my one thing about state championship volleyball. You screwed with my parking because we had a UAA basketball game the same time.
Yeah.
I had to park in the back 40. Like I found the one spot that was remaining.
I'm surprised you were able to even get in there.
Oh, dude, it took me 3 rounds.
I believe it.
Like
I
of going
believe it.
around. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, all right, I got a little bit of time. Okay. And then I got harassed by security because I had a backpack. And I'm like, I work here. Like, I'm broadcasting the game. Yeah, we still need to see your bag. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. Just go through the bag. So
I'd go in the preferred parking with my media pass. But really, what really gets me in is donut holes. So
you bribing the parking attendant?
you bribe him. He actually turned it down, but
Oh,
after a day,
Wow.
you know who he is. Yeah, I shouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I don't know.
broadcast
No,
that.
it changes all the time.
I shouldn't
No.
throw him under the bus, but
No, but
They do rotate quite a bit.
they do rotate. But
Yep.
I don't park in that lot. I've tried the whole, here's my media badge. Like, they left my parking pass at will call. I'm like, whatever. I can walk. I'm fine.
for a couple of years, I was Dr. So-and-so, and I would park in the Providence. And then one year I got into preferred parking, and then I would just circle Providence. I was first floor, second floor, because I always parked there. And then it took about 45 minutes. Wait a minute.
This thing gets published online, right? Like, I'm just saying, like,
just
don't rat yourself out too much here, Brad.
Oh,
since I'm not in charge of it anymore, I'm not going to say anything. But oh my gosh, man!
All right, I mean,
in 7 more years, I'll be a doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well. Anyway. All right. Well, high school volleyball season in the books. Congratulations. Well, in the books in terms of 3A and 4A. Kenai Central Cardinals winning the 3A and the Dimond Lynx claiming their 17th state title in program history and the 12th under head coach Kim Lauwers. So stick with the volleyball theme. UAA Volleyball, they had a couple of big matches on the road as the Seawolves last week, I should say now 2 weeks ago, at home, taking on a couple of top 25 opponents, picked up wins against Simon Fraser and against Western Washington, 2 huge wins at home, and they just wrapped up their final road trip of the season against Northwest Nazarene and also against Central Washington, and the Seawolves continue their winning ways. UAA picking up big wins against Northwest Nazarene in 4, and then bouncing back with a 5-set victory against Central Washington as well. So the Seawolves have now won 4 matches in a row going into their final 2. You take a look at the GNAC standings coming into this weekend. Central Washington still on top at 13-3. Simon Fraser at 12-4. UAF at 12-4. Seawolves at 12-4. And Western Washington at 12-4. So right now there is this log jam fighting for second place at the moment in the GNAC. There is a chance, and I say a chance, depending on how things shake out in the last 2 matches of the season in the regular season, that the Seawolves could claim the GNAC title. They would obviously need Central Washington to lose, along with UAF to lose a match either to Montana State Billings and or Seattle Pacific this weekend, as those are the 2 final opponents who UAA will wrap up with as well. Seawolves will play Montana State Billings on Thursday night, and then Saturday afternoon take on Seattle Pacific. So Seawolves right now, in terms of postseason play, they're sitting in a pretty good spot. In the initial West Region poll that came out last Tuesday, they were sitting at number 3 in the West Region poll. If the Seawolves even get a split this weekend against Montana State Billings and Seattle Pacific, more than likely they're going to be in. If they win their final 2 games, they're definitely going to be in the NCAA region tournament coming up in a couple of weeks from now. Will they win the GNAC? Who knows? Could be a coin toss, but more than likely, the Seawolf volleyball team going to make a postseason appearance, which would be the first one under head coach Stacy Meisner. First 20-win season as well for Coach Meisner, as well as the Seawolves here in the last couple of weeks looking really, really impressive. Lee Ivankina really leading the team. She had 22 kills, I believe, against Central Washington, and also had 5 blocks. Tia Allen had another 20 kills against the Wildcats, as well as Tia is having a huge, huge senior year for UAA. So the Seawolves in a good spot going into what should be a postseason appearance in the NCAA tournament. So your final chance to see UAA during the regular season On Thursday night, they will take on Montana State Billings at 7 o'clock, and then a special Saturday matinee as they play at noon because the 22nd, I don't know if you've seen the Seawolf sports schedule on the
Yeah.
22nd.
It's
It's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Absolutely nuts. Nuts. So they play at noon. Men's basketball is at 3. And then you have 2 Great Alaska Shootout games. Yeah, that's right. Great Alaska Shootouts this weekend as well. So it's going to be a crazy week for Seawolf sports. So the volleyball team getting things started on Thursday. Actually, I should say the women's basketball team is getting things started. Women's basketball is going to play Hawaii Hilo on Tuesday, a special Tuesday night. Depending on when you're listening to this podcast, the Seawolves will play Hawaii Hilo at 7 o'clock at the Alaska Airlines Center on Tuesday, and then have 2 ASRC ConocoPhillips Great Alaska Shootout games coming up as well. So it is a busy week.
And next week's really busy too.
It is.
I was
A lot
marking
of
down the
stuff.
calendar, looking ahead, and Friday, Saturday next week, Black Friday and Saturday,
Right.
and it's 3 games a day.
It's brutal. My voice is going to be shot.
Keaton, funny
It's toast.
so you'll be keeping busy. You'll be as busy as anybody. And I would say too that especially now that high school volleyball is over, and these important home games are coming up, let's put a great crowd. There was good crowds at the high school, but if you're a fan of volleyball, this would be the best time. And maybe you haven't even been able to catch a match during their good season, but Thursday, let's see a good showing, Saturday at noon. Let's really make that home court advantage mean something.
Yeah, it'd be huge. If you haven't got a chance to check out this year's UAA volleyball team, get out and see them this weekend. That's a good point, Brad. I'll put this plug out there. Seawolves take on Montana State Billings on Thursday. The Seawolves have won 13 in a row. All right. I'm not jinxing anybody. I'm just throwing out facts. All right. UAA's won 13 in a row against Montana State Billings. Montana State Billings is in last place. They have not won a conference game. All right. They're 0-16. What's that smirk for, Isaiah? I'm bringing stats here. Okay.
Bringing stats.
It's
bringing
truth.
the noise.
It's truth. All right.
Yeah, it's truth.
That's why I play the game.
Yes, that's exactly it. So, but then UAA, as you mentioned, Brad, wrapping things up on Saturday afternoon. That is senior night / afternoon, by the way, against Seattle Pacific. So get your tickets online at goseawolves.com. Mention that UAA women's basketball team on the road. They picked up some big wins. Their first 2 Division II wins of the season as the women's basketball team started the regular season against NAIA Northwest University out of Kirkland, Washington, with a couple of big wins. But Seawolves taking down Hawaii Pacific and Chaminade in Honolulu this past weekend, winning against the Sharks 72-49, and then against Chaminade 88-59. Looking at the scores against Hawaii Pacific, the Seawolves, I think Miley Anderson, no, that was the game against Chaminade. She had 21 points. Miley Anderson had 11. They were led by Malia Harrison, who had 24 for the Seawolves against Hawaii Pacific. Lily Duffin, another double-double performance. She had 11 points, 13 rebounds against the Sharks, did Lily Duffin. And then against Chaminade, the Seawolves, also impressive. Mentioned the point total for Miley Anderson, who had 21 points, 8 rebounds. Lily Duffin, back-to-back double-doubles, 10 points, 15 rebounds against Chaminade. And the Seawolves, by the way, had 51 total rebounds against Chaminade. So
that's a lot of rebounds.
A lot of rebounds, a lot of boards.
You're gonna win. You're gonna win that game.
Yeah,
you're gonna win a lot of games like that.
I would say so. I'm trying to find second chance points. 17 second chance points for UAA. So yeah,
it's a good trip when you get 2 wins and a tan. So
yeah, I agree. And now you get to come back home and you get to take on another Hawaii team. You get to play Hawaii Hilo on Tuesday. So the Seawolf women's basketball team is going to be busy this week. They have 3 games this week. So you play on Tuesday, and then you have Friday, Saturday, Great Alaska Shootout. Seawolves opening up the ASRC ConocoPhillips Great Alaska Shootout against St. Thomas University. And then they will either play, depending on who wins, Bowling Green State University or UC Irvine would be their next opponent. Bowling Green and UC Irvine get the Great Alaska Shootout started at 5:15 on Friday. Seawolves and St. Thomas will play at 7:30. So,
Keaton, I
yeah.
think UC Irvine is better known by their mascot, if I'm not mistaken.
You think of the Anteaters?
Yeah, the Anteaters.
Anteaters.
Yes, that's one of the top nicknames, along with the
That's one on the
Wendigo.
list.
It's
On
not
the list.
not the same as Cougars.
No,
You
that's lame.
BYU, Washington State.
Boo.
Boo.
Boo. No, the best name so far is the Gooey Ducks.
Gooey
The
Ducks.
Evergreen State Gooey Ducks. So
Wendigo.
Wendigo. That one's up there too.
Wendigo.
So as we already mentioned, a busy week for women's basketball. Men's basketball, they have now won 4 in a row after getting 2 wins against Evergreen State, and now they get wins in the Alaska Hawaii Challenge, presented by Alaska Airlines, oddly enough, but against Hawaii Pacific and Chaminade. Seawolves with a 5-point victory against Hawaii Pacific, 70-65, and then a 73-53 win over Chaminade. Seawolves led from start to finish against Chaminade, but it got a little crazy down the stretch. Seawolves led by as many as 18 points in that game, and the Silver Swords able to claw their way back, and they tied the game at 53 in the late stages with right around a minute 10 remaining. And if this was last year's UAA men's basketball team, this is probably a game they lose. They had so many close games. They had 9 games, which last year the Seawolves lost by 6 points or fewer. In a majority of those games, they had leads that they end up seeing whittled away. But now the script has been flipped, at least in these last 2 games, winning by 5 against Hawaii Pacific and then winning by 4 against Chaminade. So some resilience shown by this year's men's basketball team in the last 2 games, as UAA now winning 4 in a row at home, as they will get ready to take on Northwest University for a couple of games. They will play on Saturday at 3 p.m. and then Sunday scheduled start time is at 1 p.m. So make sure you check out men's basketball as well.
So a couple things there is Chaminade just turned over UAA like crazy.
Yes.
To make up that deficit. And there were numerous possessions where UAA couldn't even get across half court. But really down the stretch in the last 110, like you talked about, Bishop Tosi just had a move around the basket. He went up so strong, kissed it off the glass. And, there was a good defensive possession by UAA. But even that, there was another turnover where they had to come up with a huge rebound. And then they hit a couple free throws, but they had everybody on the edge of their seat. And the other thing, Keaton, was the previous game with UAF. They had a tough game Saturday night. They didn't perform so well. And then here they are playing Hawaii Pacific, who, beat Boise State this year. That's a very good team. And it went right down to the end, back and forth, back and forth. UAF's on the free throw line up 2. They make 1, and there's less than 10 seconds to play. So, if you make the second one, you win. If you miss the second one and you foul, they would just shoot 2 free throws.
Right.
But they missed the second one. They kicked the ball out, and they made another pass. And then the guy who's not their best shooter is at the top of the key, and he shoots it just as 1 is turning to 0, and he makes it off the backboard. So,
Quentin McCullough had that game-tying 3, yeah.
So, and then you play the overtime, but UAF, they had several chances to win that game. So, but they kind of showed the sign that they're going to be a team to be dealt with once again.
Yeah, they're going to be good. I mean, I think UAF kind of got off to a similar start, at least here early on, to what happened last year. Once they got into about conference play, that's really when things started to turn a corner for the Nanooks last year. So we'll see what happens this go around for Coach Ostanek in his second year, in his second stint, as well at the helm of the men's basketball team there with the Nanooks. So Nanooks went 0 for 2 in that Alaska Hawaii Challenge, losing to the Sharks and to the Silver Swords. Seawolves go 2 and 0, winning the title of this year's Alaska Hawaii Challenge. You mentioned that shot by Bishop Tosi, by the way, down the stretch, Brad. That was
Yeah.
his lone field goal the entire game.
Wow.
He had one field goal. He was 1 for 3 from the field. He was 4 of 5 from the free throw line and had 8 rebounds. But the one shot he made from the field was that go-ahead bucket to put UA up 55-53. And it was a huge bucket by Bishop.
I think
So,
UAA, they have depth of 3-point shooting. So they shot it well from the 3-point line.
yeah.
So in that situation, when Tosi gets the ball, people are fearful of double teaming because
Right.
so many guys have knocked it down from outside. So that gave him a one-on-one opportunity. He still had to finish it. And, UA fans could take a breath because they hadn't breathed in about 6 minutes.
Yeah, it was crazy. Seawolves went on a scoring drought there. I think it was a 10-0 run by Chaminade at one point to tie the game up at 53. So it got a little hairy there down the stretch, but the Seawolves able to pull it out, and a big win for Rusty Osborne and UAA as they get ready to play Northwest University. Not a Division II opponent for UAA in these two games, but obviously a chance for UAA to kind of work on some things and get some things. Not saying ironed out necessarily, but before they get back into Division II play, really figure out the identity of this team, because after they play Northwest University, the Seawolves will play in the Sprite Tundra tip-off. Fairbanks will make a trip back down to Anchorage as UAA is hosting Westmont, Cal Poly Humboldt as well for this Sprite Tundra tip-off. Seawolves will play Cal Poly Humboldt and Westmont University as well, which will be also a couple of, West Region opponents for UAA. So all the information. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
Just was able to visit with Coach Osborne after the game because I hitchhiked home with him, and he said he and his new assistant will not have a day off till December 13th. So I guess when you have a new team, a lot of guys out of the portal, and a heavy schedule as you mentioned, and you're helping out with AD duties. I mean, that's tough.
I mean, he handed out the trophy at the end, right? I mean, to his own team. So that's what it was like.
He had to hand it out, and then he said here, and then he said, "Thank you very much." I mean,
yeah, kind of a weird thing there, but yeah. After November, the Seawolves have one game at home against West Coast Baptist in December, on December 15th. Seawolves actually open up conference play on December 4th and 6th for men's basketball against St. Martin's in Western Oregon. Those games will be on the road. But it's a busy month of November for sure for men's and women's basketball. Find all the ticket information. Go Seawolves.com. Get your tickets in advance for this week and next week coming up as well. One more thing before we wrap it up. Anchorage Wolverine hockey. They played the Wisconsin Wendigo this past weekend in a couple of games. Seawolves lost the first game 4-3 to the Wendigo. Bounced back with a 4-1 victory as well. So now I'm trying to look at the division standings here. I say Seawolves, my goodness, sorry. Wolverines right now, I think they have, what are they, 9-1, it looks like, so far in the season. So they got their work cut out for them, but they have some big games coming up. I know they take on the Fairbanks Ice Dogs this weekend up in Fairbanks. Isaiah, you're making the trip up there for that. So that's a huge series coming up for the Anchorage Wolverines, obviously.
It is. It's a big one. They're playing better together. It was an electric atmosphere this weekend with our military appreciation weekend, and there was 5,234 or 36 people on Saturday.
Why
It
don't you pin
was
that
it
so we know?
was
Sure.
it was a lot of people.
Isaiah, I got to tell you that we went out Saturday night, and it was a watering hole, most adjacent to Alaska Airlines. Keaton probably knows it. So we go in there, but there was a lot of Wolverine conversation, and people
Nice.
were fired up. And I think, overtime Friday, is that right?
Yeah, Friday was overtime, lost in overtime, picked up a point, which is big, but Wendigo's ahead in the standings, so any wins we can get and taking points away
Yeah.
are important. But big series against Fairbanks this coming weekend up in Fairbanks. So those are big because right now you got the Club 49, the Alaska Airlines, the Club 49 Cup. Ice Dogs are ahead with 8 points. Fairbanks, Kenai, and Wolverines are tied with 4. So those are big. Those are big points needed for not just standings, but for the Club 49 Cup point tracker as well. So it's a big weekend coming up.
Yeah, right now, at least in the Midwest division, just looking at the Midwest as a whole, uh, the Wolverines sitting in the number 6 spot right now. Minnesota Wilderness lead the Midwest division, followed by the Fairbanks Ice Dogs, who are number 2 right now, as they are 12-7, 12-7 and 1. They have one overtime loss on the season. The Wisconsin Wendigo are in 3rd, Janesville Jets in 4th, Springfield Junior Blues in 5th, and then the Wolverines sitting right there in the number 6 spot. So, yeah, big weekend this weekend against the number 2 team in the Midwest Division. So if the Seawolves can go, or God, I did it again.
You did it again.
If the Wolverines can go on the road and pick up 2 wins, that would be huge against the
Well, and
Fairbanks Ice Dogs.
the points, Minnesota Wilderness started out real hot. They got out to
Yeah,
Wolverines played them 5 times in the first, I think, 7 games.
right.
And Minnesota Wilderness are still in the top 10 ranked. They've got 28 points. Wolverines
Right.
have 21.
Yeah.
Fairbanks has 25. I mean, it's all
It's neck and neck.
right there. It's all
Yeah.
neck and neck. So one good weekend can really set you up against one of those
Yes.
teams above. That's why that Wisconsin weekend this past weekend was pretty big.
Huge. Yep.
Yep.
Huge. You can get your tickets online, AnchorageWolverines.com. They're on the road this week, but I think after the Fairbanks series,
We got a big one. We're
Wolverines.
expecting a sellout for this one, so 6,200, and that's the night before Thanksgiving. So November 26th. Sales
On Wednesday.
on
All right.
Wednesday. They're pretty strong, and it's against Kenai. So
That'll be
Kenai's
huge.
driving up that day, and we're going to play, and then they're going to drive back that night.
All right. All right.
Yep.
So that'll be a fun one. So if you have not got your ticket already, you could be out of luck. I mean,
Yeah,
they're going fast.
they're going fast.
Get your
That'd
tickets.
It'd be great to see him fill them up. It'll be, of course, the day before the Cowboys lose and Green Bay
Oh
win.
my gosh.
Oh,
Get out of
right,
here.
right. Yeah.
Green Bay
that's it.
plays on Thanksgiving this year too?
Well, they're playing Detroit.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay.
And who are the Cowboys playing?
Kansas City.
Oh my
Oh, that's
God!
right. It's Kansas City.
Well, and Kansas City's fighting for their playoff life. So
Yeah, that's
it should
gonna
be
be-
kind of both teams, kind of.
You got to like Kansas City's schedule here out.
I don't know who they have, but
Well,
it's
they
probably a
got
little easier.
I got the Cowboys.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah, you got your Cowboys. Yeah, you got your Cowboys. Okay. Well, Thanksgiving, Cowboys pull out some miracles sometimes, so we'll see. We'll see.
Isn't there a third game on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, they've added that third. I don't know who's playing.
I don't know.
It's the NBC's got a game, I think, or NFL Network. Somebody does.
Or does
But
Netflix,
yeah, they've added that.
Netflix has the Christmas ones?
Yeah,
Is that what Netflix
something
had?
like that. Dude, I
Yeah,
don't know.
something
There's
like
so many
that.
games anymore. Like, I could go on a rant about like.
We could definitely.
I
go
love
on a
football.
rant.
I love it. I don't think
Same
there
here.
need, here's my thing, and we're gonna wrap things up. I don't think there needs to be Thursday night football until after Thanksgiving, right? I think there's too much, but that's my opinion. And that's me, but it's a
No,
business.
Not
So-
good for the teams. They're
Yeah.
getting ready for a game in 3 days, and they're playing 17 regardless.
Right.
So
Yeah.
apparently, it looks like it's a profit-making thing.
No, you don't say.
Yeah.
No way. They
Well, they're
they do
u-
things for money.
And they're
No, no
usually
way.
division games too.
right.
So like
On Thursdays?
yeah, on Thursdays. So the we're all laughing. The Seahawks Rams game was a great game. back and forth, great defenses, all this stuff. Well, the next time they play is on the 18th of December. It's a Thursday.
Yeah.
You're like, come on. At least Seattle has them at home on Thursday, but still, you're like, really?
Yeah. So yeah, you got Packers, Lions, Kansas City, and Dallas, and then here's a whopper, guys, on Thanksgiving, the Bengals and Ravens.
Oh,
A great way to
yeah.
wrap things up.
Oh,
Yeah. So pick the games you want to watch.
Yeah.
well, we'll all be in a food coma by the Sunday night game.
Let's see the halftime shows. The Lions and Packers have Jack White. The Cowboys and Chiefs might have the best one. They got Post Malone. And then the Ravens and Bengals have Little John.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only know Little John because he was on The Apprentice.
I was thinking of
I had no idea.
I know
he
who
was
Little
on-
John is, but I was going to make a joke about what was it? Robin Hood. Isn't Little John in Robin Hood?
Yeah, Little John.
That had the potential for being a good joke.
Yeah, I know. I blew it. I blew it.
That was a good joke.
I liked Little John when I was in high school. Like he was a popular guy when I was in high school. I had
A couple years.
all his albums.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, get out of
Get
here.
out of here. It's been longer than that now. It doesn't feel like it, but it has.
Did you get your driver's license yet?
I did. Actually, I got to renew it next year. Now that you make me think about it. So that's how
Yeah,
old I am.
hey, renew it.
Yep.
Make sure you renew it.
Yep.
We had to deny somebody from going into the wet section
Oh, because it expired.
because it expired. And that's technically not a legal ID at that point. So
Man.
just saying,
Yeah.
check your IDs before you get there.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Isaiah's
the-
PSA. There you go.
All the texts and phone calls I get during a game. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
I bet.
So Keaton, there's one of the legends that you know that had his field named after him. He had this comment. He says, "There's a dry side."
I believe that.
Okay. All right. I think I might know
Okay.
who you're talking about, but I won't say names on this podcast. We'll
No.
protect the innocent.
Bye.
Protect the innocent. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Alaska Sports Talk podcast. We should be back at it Thanksgiving week, so we'll give you one more episode prior going into the holiday break. So until then, Brad Lauwers, Isaiah Freeman, Keaton Homer, we'll see you out there at the arena somewhere watching some sports.